Good morning. As a church over the last couple of months, we've been looking at the, the Sermon on the Mount as it's recorded in Matthew's Gospel. And particularly, we've been looking at the Beatitudes, which are these characteristics almost of a Christian that Jesus gives. You're poor in spirits and you're meek and those kind of things, hunger and thirst for righteousness, that sort of thing. And towards the end of the Beatitudes, we get this one. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Each of those statements starts, blessed are those, and this one's blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. It's a funny thing, when you think of the word blessed, or, it's often to be, to kind of receive a good thing, to be in a good position. You might be blessed with a child, or blessed with a good new job, or blessed with a home. Blessed for being persecuted doesn't quite feel the same way, does it? It's conflicting. It clashes. It just doesn't quite seem to fit together. How can you be blessed while people are persecuting you, or people are attacking you because of your righteousness and because of your Christian faith? Yet Jesus says, just as all those other things are to be blessed, so to be persecuted because of your faith in Jesus, to be persecuted because of the good things you do, because of your righteousness, that's a great thing. That's a good thing. And in fact, that word blessed, sometimes it can be translated as happy. Happy are those who are being attacked for being Christians, who are being attacked for following God. And not only are they happy, or perhaps maybe the reason why they can be happy is because theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Because those who suffer in the name of Jesus, those are the ones who inherit God's kingdom, who are held in high esteem by God and ultimately rewarded for eternity. But it's a challenge to us, this idea of being persecuted. A couple of thoughts I had in it were these. I think, firstly, it's a warning that persecution is part of being a Christian. Just as all these other things are characteristics of being a Christian, another key hallmark of being a Christian is that you are persecuted because of your faith. That is just part of the package. And so if you're a new Christian, or you're new to the Christian faith, or thinking about it, exploring it for the first time, be aware that Jesus says very clearly that you'll get grief for it. You'll get some jib from people because of your faith. People won't like it, and some people will try and make your life difficult because you trust in Jesus. So there's a warning there, first of all. There's also, though, perhaps a challenge, because if these are characteristics of a Christian, and one of them is being persecuted, and maybe we're not being persecuted, then the question is asked, well, how distinctive are we being? Like, why are we not being persecuted for our faith? Perhaps we assimilate too much into our culture. We're not distinctive enough. It's not clear that we're a Christian. Perhaps people don't even know we're a Christian. Well, they're not going to persecute us if they don't even know that's something we stand on. Notice here in the verse it says, blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. Maybe we're not standing out in our good deeds, and we're not speaking up for what's right as much as we could do or should do. And if we did, would experience more persecution. So not only is there a warning that persecution is going to come, but if maybe persecution isn't coming, or you've been a Christian for a long time and you've never really experienced persecution, or have experienced very little, maybe there's a challenge there that you're not being quite as distinctive and living as much for Jesus as you could do. But thirdly, and I think most importantly, and I think when Jesus is speaking here, this is what he's really getting at, there's a massive encouragement for those who are being persecuted. I remember my dad lost a job around the turn of the millennium, and it was probably because he was a Christian. He did win a lawsuit for unlawful dismissal, and although it was just deemed as there was no grounds for dismissing him, the sense was that the boss had sacked him because he was a Christian and they didn't like it. And so for him, these verses can be great comfort during that time, that he's blessed and that he'll inherit the kingdom of heaven, even if he's losing out of his job in the here and now. And so it can be a massive encouragement for you likewise when you are being persecuted, when you are getting grief, maybe at school, maybe at work, maybe among friendship groups, maybe from a neighbour, because of your Christian faith, that actually yours is the kingdom of heaven and that you're blessed for that persecution. But potentially maybe where it's most encouraging is for those around the world that are suffering real intense persecution at the moment. And there's a charity called Open Doors UK. I highly recommend you check out their website. And just having a look at it this morning, 4,761 Christians were murdered for their faith in 2020. That is real persecution. 4,472 churches and Christian buildings were attacked last year. And by their estimates, around 340 million Christians around the world are actively persecuted for their faith each year, with the top 5 countries being North Korea, Afghanistan, Somalia, Libya, and Pakistan. And so if you're a Christian in one of those countries, you can read what it says here in Matthew 5. You can hear Jesus' words and be massively comforted, because it's really tough now. You might lose your life now, but you've got God's kingdom to look forward to, and that lasts for eternity. And in the here and now, God's blessing and favour rests with them.